Happy New Year, everyone. I'm Phil Bell, Director External Affairs at FreedomWorks, and your host to break down the FreedomWorks Scorecard, a handy tool we use to make sure that you're in the loop on how your elected officials are voting. Here at FreedomWorks, we're all about holding members of Congress accountable, because without us, their constituents, they wouldn't have jobs.
Yes, I.
So now that 2022 is here, the numbers from last year are in, and it's time to celebrate those officials who are fighting for freedom while in office. First, let's focus on our friends in the U.S. Senate who scored a perfect 100% on the FreedomWorks Congressional Scorecard. Senators Marsha Blackburn and Bill Hagerty from Tennessee, Mike Braun from Indiana, Ted Cruz from Texas, Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, James Lankford from Oklahoma, Mike Lee from Utah, Roger Marshall from Kansas, Rand Paul from Kentucky, Tim Scott from South Carolina, Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania, and the great coach Tommy Tuberville from Alabama. Now, on the House side, the following members also scored a perfect 100%. Representatives Andy Biggs and David Schweikert from Arizona, Dan Bishop and Madison Cawthorn from North Carolina, Lauren Boebert of Colorado, Mo Brooks, who hails from Alabama, Byron Donalds, Matt Gaetz, Greg Steube, and Kat Kamak from the great free state of Florida, Chip Roy, Michael Cloud, and Lance Gooden from Texas, James Comer and Thomas Massey from Kentucky, Bob Good did a good job in Virginia, Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia, Yvette Harrell from New Mexico, Jim Jordan from Ohio, Nancy Mace of South Carolina, Tracy Mann from Kansas, Tom McClintock from California, Mary Miller from Illinois, Matt Rosendale from Montana, and last but not least, Chris Stewart of Utah. That means every single time these freedom fighters have cast their votes, they remembered the principles of liberty, our Constitution, and the American people that they represent. So let's give each of them a hearty round of applause. Now, in addition to these perfect scores, 16 senators and 36 representatives also had scores above 90%. So we'll give these freedom fighters a round of applause as well for making an A on the FreedomWorks Scorecard during 2021. Now, you may have thought after that long list, wow, Phil, that seems like a long list. Those people are doing such a great job voting in Congress. Is it always this way? Unfortunately, it's not. You see, it's amazing how conservative everyone can be when they're in the minority. But worthy of note is that there were only 2 Republican senators who did not see a score increase in 2021. And those were Senators Rand Paul and Mike Lee. That's because they already had a 100% on our scorecard to begin with. That demonstrates their commitment to freedom over time, and not just when the opposing party holds the majority. Now, here are your top 5 score improvements on the House side. Congressman Dave Joyce from Ohio jumped 49 points, going from a low of 39 in 2020 to 88 in 2021. Elise Stefanik from New York and Michael McCall from Texas both increased their scores by 51 points, also to hit an 88% on our congressional scorecard. Brian Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania, well, he started 2021 at only 16%, but by the year's end, he jumped 53 points to finish with a 63. And last but not least, Kay Granger from Texas also finished 53 points higher in 2021 than 2020, ending with a great 88%. So now that we have this information, what do we do with it? Well, 2022 is a very special year because it's an election year for Congress. That means you can make sure that your top scorers remain in office, and your elected officials who seem to have forgotten how important freedom is, well, you can vote them out. So don't underestimate your power in making a difference at the polls. It's up to you and I to make sure that we have who we want working for us in Washington, D.C. So I'll see you again next time with more from the FreedomWorks Congressional Scorecard.
That's all, folks.